Hey guys, so here it is, the Nikon D500, a beast of an APS-C size sensor advertised as the mini D5. Right out of the box, build quality looks great. It's made of magnesium alloy on the top and the rear of the camera body and reinforced in the front with carbon fiber. Now the button placements here is very similar to that of the D800. What I like here is you have dedicated flaps for your HDMI output, mic input, a headphone jack, and USB. Round eyepiece, there's no pop-up flash, which is something I prefer. It looks professional, it feels great. First impression is very good. So we're here at Christie Pitts, just off of Bloor Street here in Toronto, and we are here to test the autofocus. Now the D500, it has 153 autofocus points, 99 of them which are cross type, and 55 of them are selectable. So we're going to test the autofocus with our friend Colin in the background doing the slacklining thing. Let's see how it turns out.
The predictive autofocus works amazingly well, almost unexpectedly well, outperforming our expectations. At first, I was skeptical and redirected the focal points onto the subject itself prior to releasing the shutter, but quickly allowed the camera itself to find the subject after seeing how good it was on its own and how fast it did it as well. The 100% viewfinder and the camera's ergonomic handle, which by the way is identical to that of the D750, really gives this shooting experience a professional feel.
A great feature here about this touchscreen is that you can use it to view photos, swipe it, zoom in and zoom out. It's very responsive and very accurate. Also, you can use it to view thumbnails, movies, you can type on here, but more importantly, you can use it to release a shutter. So there are more functions to the touchscreen, but I do want to mention one function in particular because I believe it stands out above a lot of the other functions, and that's something called the split screen display zoom.
Hello, I'm going to explain the split screen display zoom. Essentially what it is you have your live preview split into two sections. You can have them at polar opposite ends of the image. What it does help you with is align your image properly. So if you're shooting buildings, landscapes, if you're in real estate photography, you're able to see zoomed in if your image is aligned properly. You can also check the perspective. If you're off alignment slightly, your image will skew in or out. So it just helps you in your relationship with the subject on the different angles. So this function is also available on the Nikon D810, although we do find it's much more intuitive on the D500, so definitely worth integrating into your workflow.
Hey guys, so we're here at Riverdale Park, and behind me you can see this beautiful skyline of Toronto, and we're here to test out the time-lapse function on the D500. Now, Nikon has added an in-camera intervalometer. This intervalometer is actually capable up to an astounding 9,999 frames. Inside here, there's also a function called exposure smoothing. And what exposure smoothing does is that it smooths any abrupt change in exposure during your time lapse.
ISO quality from ISO 3200 to 6400 looks really good, and at ISO 8000 to 25600 gives you fairly usable images if you're willing to put some work into the post-processing. Past that, at ISO 32000 to 51200, the images start to fall apart and it really starts to lose detail. The high settings are really there to serve as cosmetic marketing purposes rather than for function, which is really a big disappointment. But then again, what are you going to do? It is, after all, a APS-C sized sensor.
The video functions on the D500 at 1080p works all just fine as expected from a recent DSLR. The slow motion at 60p looks great, and the focus tracking during the shooting works relatively well on its own for slow-moving subjects, moving about in very small distances without the AF itself needing to rack focus. Although it is not recommended that you rely on this feature for action shooting, as it will rack focus from time to time with the AF turned on. At 4K, there is an additional crop added to the already existing DX format, and it is sort of annoying having to shoot so far away from your subject. This may be a factor when choosing what type of mic you use to capture sound. The 4K video at ISO 1600 to 12800 looks actually quite usable. It starts to fall apart though past that threshold, and at ISO 51200 it's as noisy as the location we were shooting at. None of the high ISO settings delivered usable footage, unless you're going for that 90s basement cult videotape look.
So let's talk sensor. 20.9 effective megapixels with Nikon's XB5 processor, 14-bit lossless compression, and it's capable up to 10 frames a second, all the way to 200 frames, even if you're shooting RAW. Now that's seriously impressive. There's no optical low-pass filter. It's capable up to 1/8,000 of a second to 30 seconds shutter speed, and it even has a flat picture profile that gives you more agility in post-production. The camera has 2 card slots, and it takes SD and XQD cards, up to 128 gigabytes for XQD, and that's great for 4K video function. 10 frames a second for 200 frames, that's 20 seconds. In 20 seconds, it's a very long time. But exactly how long is 20 seconds? We decided to do something that normally takes half a second and try to do it for the entire duration that the D500 can write lossless files. In this case, it was handshaking with complete strangers. It took many attempts to find willing participants, but this gentleman here was very accommodating and stuck it out despite my obvious interruption of his work. Good lad, because 20 seconds, the only people who shake hands for that long are world leaders at a press conference pretending to like each other. Okay, so at the end of the day, what is our overall impression with this camera? I gotta tell you, it's really good. I mean, this is an excellently built camera. It's designed well. It has almost all the functions of a D5, and it meets most consumer and even semi-pro to pro level needs. The build quality is great. It's weather sealed. The picture and video quality are very good and very up to date. If you need a full frame camera and there's no way you can do without, sure, go out, get the D750. This is slightly more expensive, but in my opinion, absolutely justified. I mean, this is just a little beast of an APS-C camera. And if you are a Nikon shooter and you shoot APS-C, this is definitely a camera that you would want in your repertoire.